Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to another video at HasLab. We're now moving on to question 28, which is task 4, and it says in this question, you are going to prepare labels for the company. So question 28, produce labels from all the data which, so are arranged in 2 columns, only include cars which have not yet been dispatched, include only the records where the VIN begins with 37, the country field is Spain, the power field is E, show only the fields VIN, model, port, and distributor, each on a separate line, display the field name as well as the data, and in a large font at the top of each label, include the heading, warning, check charge voltage before delivery. Now guys, what you should notice in here is that the label looks very similar to a report. A label in fact is a report. So the examiners will either refer to it as a label or refer to it maybe as a report with 2 columns. So just be aware of that guys. Now what we need to do first is, as we did with the previous report, is we need to identify what's in the query and what's in the report. So for the sake of time in the exam, I'm only going to highlight the things that are involved in the query. So arrange in 2 columns, that's in the label. Only includes cars that have not yet been dispatched. This seems like it's going to be in the query. So this is where we're searching for the data. So in here, I'm going to highlight the text. Includes only the records where the VIN begins with 37, the country field is Spain, and the power field is E. So this over here is all part of the query. Sorry. So in here we go to annotate, and here I'm going to highlight the text. So this is also part of the query. Shows only the fields VIN, model, port, and distributor. That's in the label or in the report. Displays the field names as well as the data, That's in the report or in the label. Sorry. In a larger font, this is also in the label. And display your name, center number, candidate number at the bottom of each label, which is also in the label. So what we need to do first is we need to make sure that we create the query first, then we then go ahead and make the label. Okay, so let's go back and begin. Now, in the exam question, we need to create a query first. So go to create, then here go to query design. So always use a design because we normally use a design when we're working with 2 tables or relational databases. So here, this is my relational database. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we're going to start off with the shows only the fields. So we're going to start off with the fields that the examiners want. So in here, we're going to put the VIN, model, port, distribute on each line. So I'm going to select these fields first of all. So I'm going to select them in the same order as well. So the first one is the VIN. So here, let's just click Enable Editing, Save Changes. Oh, whoops. Let's just go back and do that again. So create, query design, add both tables. Then in here, we select the fields that the examiners want us to select. So we start off with the VIN number, then we have the model, then port, which is in this table. So in here it's easy for us to see what the fields are. Because we're selecting from 2 different tables, it can be a little bit more complicated if we're using the wizard. So port, distributor, which is here, on a separate line. Okay, now guys, so let's start with the first part of the query. In the first part, it says only includes cars that have not yet been dispatched. So can I see, if I look at I'll start off by looking at the data. So if I go to run, can I see anywhere where it says dispatched? I obviously can't. So what I need to do is I need to go back to design view, and can I see dispatched in the tables anywhere? Yes, I can. Then I go back to the design view, and in here we can see that some of the cars say yes and some of them say no. So if the question says the cars have not yet been dispatched, that means where the dispatched is a no. So we look at the field name is dispatched. We then go to the dispatched under criteria, we type no. We then go to run, and now it shows me all the cars that have not yet been dispatched. So that brings it down to 330 records, which is probably still too many. Okay, so what we then do is we then go back to the exam question. So this is done. So what I need to do here is I need to make sure that I select this. Right, sorry about that, guys. Now, question 37. So they want VIN numbers that begin with 37. So what we need to do here is we can see here that we have some VIN numbers that begin with 36. So we can see here that we have VIN numbers that begin with 36 and 37. So what we need to do is we need to go to Design View, and we basically want to search for 37 and ignore anything after 37. So we want to search for 37 and ignore anything after 37. So the way that we do this is we go to the VIN number, we type in 37 followed by an asterisk. This means ignore anything after 37. I then click run. We then look at the data, and can I see that all of these VIN numbers are 37? Yes, I can if I scroll down, so I know that that definitely works. I then go back to the design view, and the country field is Spain. So can I see Spain anywhere? I cannot see Spain anywhere in here. So what I need to do is I need to go back to design view, and I need to select the country now. So Spain is a country. So we click in here, go to run. Can I see Spain anywhere now? Yes, I can. It's in the country. So go back to design view, and under the country, in the criteria, I type Spain. Okay, I then go to run again, and then now we can see that we have Spain, and where all VIN numbers begin with 37. Now, the third part is where the power field is E. So what we need to do here is we go back to the question paper, go to design view. Can we see a power that's E in here? No, we can't. So what we need to do is, can we see any power fields in here? Yes, we can. We can see it under car. So we go to the power field, and in here we just click run. Let's view the data first. We can see here that we have a number of powers, and they only want power E. So I go back to design view, under power, I type E. I then click run, and now we can see that we have a query in here. So it shows me 37. VIN number begins with 37. We have the country Spain, and the power is E. And the dispatched is a no. So countries that have not been dispatched. Okay. And yep, there we go. So what we then do, we then go back to our exam paper, and we basically highlight all of these fields. So in your exam paper, you will obviously put a tick, okay, or a mark through in pencil, just to let yourself know that that part of the exam paper has been done. So if I go to annotate, I'm just going to put a strike a line through the text. Okay, so these are the bits that I've done so far. Now that I've done all the parts in the query, I'm now ready to move on to the report. So what we do here, guys, is we then save the query, and I'm going to save it as Spain power E. Give it a name, because in the exam you may be creating several queries and you may get confused later on. So this is just a reminder of that query. So I click OK. Now I have my query. The way that I create the label now, which is different from the report, is I go to create, then I go to labels over here. And in here, guys, the first part of the question says that produce labels that are arranged in 2 columns. So if we look over here on the in the wizard, we can see that number across means the number of labels. So in here, I tend to go for the bigger one. So I'm going to choose this one here. So 72 by 72. I then click next. Here, I normally leave the text appearance, and this is the label over here. So all the information in the rest of the information really should be in the label. So what I tend to do is I tend to start off with my name, candidate number, center number at the bottom of the label. So where do they want the name, center number, candidate number? They want it, so include your name, center number, candidate number at the bottom of each label. So I'm going to start with this first. So I go into here, and this is where I type my name. So Mr. Hassin, my candidate number is QA066, for example, and my candidate number is 9999. Okay, then once I've done that, the next thing I do is I then go back to the heading. So what do they want the title to be? They want the title to be warning, check charge voltage before delivery. So that they look like they're on separate lines over there. So in here I need to type warning, and underneath on a separate line I need to write check charge voltage, sorry, lowercase charge voltage before delivery. Okay, so we know that that's definitely done that. So what we then do is we then go back to the exam paper, and have I done this? Yes, I've put my name in the label. So I'm going to just tick this off. So strike through, I've done that. Is it in 2 columns, or have I put it in 2 columns? Yes, I have. So I put a line through. So you've got to do this in the exam paper so we can see which parts we have. Now the next part, it says shows only the fields VIN, model, port and distribute on each line, on a separate line. Now in this exam paper it also says display the field name as well as the data. Now the way that we do this is we've literally got to type the data first. So they want the VIN number. So what we do is we type VIN here. So this is going to be the field name. I'm then going to put a space in here. I double click on VIN. So this is the field name here, VIN, or the label will display VIN. Then it will put basically the VIN number in here, which is a VIN number that begins with 37 from the previous query. Okay, so then enter. The next thing they want is the model. So I need to type the model in here. Okay, and then double click on model. Okay, then the next thing they want, so we have the VIN number, the model, port and distributor. So if I go back in here, the next thing is I need to type the port in here. Okay, space followed by distributor, followed by port, and the last one was distributor. Make sure it's spelled the same, followed by distributor. Okay, so here we now have the labels as well as the data, and they should be clear. So we then go to next. In here, do you want to add any sorting to the label? So we go back to the exam question. Does it ask us for any sorting? I don't think it does. No sorting in here. So what we then do, we then go back, no sorting, we click next. And here, what would you like the name of the label to be? So I'm going to leave it as label Spain Power E. And if I click finish, what we can now see is we can see the labels that are in 2 columns. We can see our field names, okay, clearly shown. So we have the VIN, model, port and distributor, and we can see the information, the data, okay, in full. So they're all clear. If I go back to the exam question, so let's look at what we've done so far. So we have done this, so we can see that it clearly shows them the field names and labels in full and data in full. So we put a line through. Remember, in the exam paper, you would obviously tick this off. Displays the field name as well as the data. Okay, so they're also in full, so we can clearly see them. We then go to model, and I also put a line through there. We can see in here that I've added this heading, but it says in here that in a larger font, at the top of each label, include the heading. So we've included the heading so far, but we haven't put it in a larger font. So what we need to do is we need to edit this. And the way we edit this is we right mouse click, go to the design view, and in here, guys, we just basically select the box. Okay, I'm going to press Control, so select both of these boxes, and I'm just going to increase the font size. So if I go to Format, I can then put it in bold and just increase the heading by 1. Okay, so if I right mouse click, go to Design View or Report View, what we should see is the headings have now increased in size. So 1 in check charge voucher for delivery now appears slightly larger on the screen. Okay, so if I go to the print preview, we can see that this information here is clearly displayed on 2 columns. I have my name at the bottom, I have the field names, as well as the data. Everything is clearly visible. Okay, and that is the end of this part of the exam question. Just check that. That's done now. I make sure that I tick this off. And yes, then save and print your labels. Make sure that you have entered the center number, candidate number, and name on your labels, which we have. So we just print the example, the labels off, and that's finished. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I hope to see you in my next video.